Okay, we're starting Be'ez Hashem Siman Lamed in Vayoel Moshe, and this is a continuation of the subject of davening too much for the Geula, which Rashi says Pshat in the Chikas HaKetz, and the Rebbe said in the last Siman that means people on the Madrega of Rabbi Chia and his sons who were able to bring the Geula.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we're going to have a bigger kasha in Rashi. Rashi holds that davening too much is included. So then the kasha on how could Rabbi do such a thing? How did he allow them to daven that you could force the geula before the time? That's also that's one of the Shalosh Shevuos, one of the Shevuos. So how could Rabbi be over on the Shalosh Shevuos? So Bishlam al Rabbi Uvanav, it's not such a kasha on Rabbi and his sons because Efshaloi Mar Shehem Lo Yadu Mimadre Gasam. They didn't know that they were on such a level to daven for the geula.
Well, they even could. They had hachna. You can't even think on such a high level.
Right, exactly. Because they had hachna, they didn't have a hava, meaning that they had that power. They didn't know about it until after the fact, until they saw what happened. And Eliyahu came to separate them. Rabbi, who had this revelation from Eliyahu, he could tefillas ha'avos, is like the tefillah of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, ha'avos ha'kedoshim b'yachad. That it has the power to bring the Geula before the time. How could Rabbi have told them to do this? The Efsher. So he says it could be maybe Rabbi originally didn't hold like Rashi's pshat. He held like the other pshat, like the Rambam and the Joshim. Maybe the Rabbi held it was mutter to do tefillah. Afterwards, when Eliyahu got his 60 lashes of fire, because of this, and he stopped them, then it became clear that it's asked to do this. So basically, Rashi's pshat comes after this story. Okay? We find such a thing that Chazal learned out in Isser from a story. There's a sugya there about making a neder with someone else in mind. That person has to agree to the neder. The question is, can you go and be matir the neder without that person agreeing? So some of the Amoraim, I think, brought a raya from Tzidkiya HaMelech, Shahaya Tzadik Gomer. Tzidkiyahu was a tzaddik, he did everything right. The Sanhedrin, he tiru lo neder. Shalai b'fnei Nebuchadnezzar. He made the neder not to tell anybody that he saw Nebuchadnezzar eating a live rabbit, I think. And Nebuchadnezzar didn't want anyone to know about this.
Why?
Because it was embarrassing for him that he did such a thing. It's
because he
was a pig.
Right, but he didn't kill the rabbit, he ate it while alive. Right, yeah.
So Tzidkiyahu said, I'll swear not to tell anybody. Then he went and he told. And he was matir the neder with the Sanhedrin. So we see from the fact that Sanhedrin was matir it, Shema minod the b'diavad al kapanim yesh heter. We see that b'diavad it works, even though you're not supposed to be matir neder. What?
Yeah.
It works to be matir neder without that person's permission. Yeah, I guess the yesh mivi and rai may be rishonim. I don't know. V'harai v'dushar rishonim kosfu she'en lo havirayim misham. Everyone agrees that you're not supposed to do it. Maybe the Gemara probably just says you're not supposed to do it, but there's a machlokes rishonim if it b'diavad is chal. So some rishonim say b'diavad is chal. The Ravid and other rishonim say no. She'en lo havirayim misham. You can't bring a raya. Shari say re'ei mal also boy with Sanhedrin. You see what happened in the end. What happened in the end was that I think Nebuchadnezzar killed them, right? Because he said you were over on the neder. It could be that Rashi held the same way, that you kind of like learn out from the story what's the right thing to do. Even though a tzaddik does something and it turns out it was wrong, but you learn from the story that it was wrong. You can't bring a raya from Rebbe that it's allowed to daven like this. Because Adrabah, Kivin Shechazilin Shaloi Iskimu Min HaShamayim. You see that in the end, Hashem didn't agree to what Rabbi did. Rabbi was that. Aval Adayin Kasha Ma Heviu LaRashi Zal L'Chadish Zeh. What caused Rashi to come up with this Chiddush? If you have to say it, yeah, you could say it. But why did Rashi say such a pshat that originally Rabbi was wrong, and then he turned out he was proven wrong, and that's why we know the pshat in the Shevuos? Why couldn't Rashi have just said the Afshaloi Iskimu Min HaShamayim L'Mayra Zagula? Even though Hashem didn't agree, Avam Mikamakum Einu Bichlal Shvuah. It's not necessarily an Isser. Sheyeh B'Oinish Chamor Kol Kach She'amru Chachamenu Zalo Ois HaShvuah. That you don't necessarily have to say that it's included in the Oinish of the Shalosh Shevuos, which is very strict Oinish. And more than that, if you see that Chazal say themselves a different pshat in this Shvuah, then why did Rashi have to deviate? Right? You see that Targum Yonasan and Chazal say, "V'kam Midrashim Pirish Achar Al Dechikas Hakei." It's a different pshat. U'Pirish Rashi's Al Loy Nimsa Loy V'Shas Loy Midrashim. Rashi's pshat is not found anywhere. Adrabah L'Choyer Yesh Raya Medivrei Rabbi L'Shehitir. We see Fakir. We see Rabbi was matir it. And you could afsheyesh l'taritz b'doichet k'moishe kasavti, even though you could answer that Rabbi was the Havamina and the truth is the Maskana. Aval hakoponim raya lehepich ein lonim bevadai. We for sure don't have a raya that Rabbi was wrong. But tzarich lahavin das Rashi zal. You have to understand Rashi b'zeh ma ra al kocha l'chadish tekoi gam al tefillah. What brought Rashi to be mechadish this chiddush that it's going on tefillah? Now he's going to say in Siman Ayin Test. That's where all the answers are, by the way.
Well, that's quite a long part.
Right.
Some Rebbe's way of writing to always give answers so long later.
Yeah, well, that's the way that this Sefer works. So you have to know where to look. In the Siman Ayin Test, basically,
yeah, I don't know.
Most of the struths are found over here. And the teretz is going to be...
Sorry, just a moment.
It's on page Tzadik Daled. Basically, what he's going on is that the Shevuos, the Isser of the Chikas HaKetz is really a very, it's really a very big Isser. It's not just a Shevuah. It's more like Kfira. You're being kofer in Hashem's Gezeirah to put Yidden in Galus, and you're saying, no, we don't care that Hashem put us in Galus. We want to come out on our own. It's like you're saying that the whole Galus wasn't what Hashem wanted, you know.
Right, because Zionists think that God was just an accident, you know.
It's an accident because Yidden were too weak and whatever. Now we're strong, now we can come out.
Or because they weren't worthy, but now they're worthy. Now they're worthy. Hashem now for sure has mercy. Or it's an arrogant thing to say Hashem will have mercy on me if I sin. So, because Sefer isn't forgiven. If he said, I'll sin, Hashem will be a giver, even then he isn't forgiven. So I feel it's closer getting true if you're going to say, on something like this, Hashem for sure, I can tell Hashem has mercy for sure.
So Bekitzer, so it's an idea of Kfir. So he goes on that. He says basically, we don't need a Shevuah for this because it's much worse than a Shevuah. So what's the Shevuah coming for? It's coming to add on something else that would have been mutter. So he says that's why Rashi said Tefillah, because Rashi's coming to say the Shevuah doesn't just aser actions. Actions for sure is aser. It's Kfir. But even davening, which is not Kfir, the Shevuah asers. You see that the left side, the left column.
Maybe he means to say that you're not, let's say, we're worthy of the Geulah for sure, I'll daven because I know we're worthy. You think that's what it means?
Well, it means only this kind of davening, though. It doesn't mean any kind of davening. Anybody could daven for the Geulah.
But you can't say, I'm worthy for sure, I'm confident my tefillah it's for sure going to work.
Even if you say that, okay, it's not right to say it, but it's not the Shevuah.
Right, because that's right. We already have that thing in brachas. It says the three things. One of them is done. All right.
Anyway, he says, Machmas Kushizu Ra Rashi Zal Lehoisif Lefarish. He adds on. He doesn't say it's not actions. Like, I once saw a Zionist book. He said that it's from Yirmiyahu the cook. Someone wrote over his ancestor.
That was Avram Cook's son, who twists around his father's views.
Right.
Who said that we need forcefully already and have an actual say that just sell Eretz Yisrael.
So someone wrote a Sefer Torah Eretz Yisrael where he asked Yirmiyahu the cook all these questions and what's he going to do with the Shalosh Shevuos. Yeah. So when he got to the Shevuos Shelo Yichchu Zaketz, he said that just means to daven too much. Don't be a nudnik. Don't daven for Geulah. Do something about it. So,
but it does say that's what it does say before.
What?
Yeah,
okay.
And even his father said, even his father said we can't use use forces. And his own father said we just settle Eretz Yisrael, but we shouldn't try to make any ownership. Just settle it.
Right now, So he says that Rashi's not coming to say not action. Rashi agrees that action is aser, but he's saying to be moisif, to add on, l'farish dekoi gam al amar b'b'tachnunim yosim b'dayis, even going on someone who davens too much. Shezev vaday eno kvir b'ikr. To do that, that's not called kvir b'ikr. Da'af shahayu psuchim l'fanav kol ha-midrashas, even though Rashi knew about all the midrashas that we brought, dekoi ala oisim maisim shaloik chingula mi'atzmam, that it's going on doing an action, koyim mazman, she'oivim mal shvuos ha'elu, gam b'shas lo nimtzat dekoi al mar b'tachnunim, and also we never find any Gemara that talks about what Rashi says, that it's talking about too much prayer. It seems like you see from Rabbi Uvanav that it's mutter to do it. Rashi didn't want to learn that it's going on actions, only on actions, because that's much worse than a shvuah. The Gemara says, it's enough to say just this isser. It's much worse. It's enough to say ar. Look at the Gemara inside that talks about ar. Certain things are ar. It's much worse than ar. But that's not called kfira, to daven too much. So that's why you need to have a shvuah on it. But for sure, the shvuah includes doing actions. That the shvuah goes on them and it gives you a bigger oynish.
Wait, what's the bottom line conclusive explanation?
The conclusive explanation is that Rashi added this pshat on because he didn't want to say actions, because then it would be, without the shvuah it would be aser.
Yeah. You
don't need a shvuah for that. So Rashi wanted to find something that goes beyond what's already aser. So it's not kfir to daven too much. Even Rabbi Uvanav is not kfir. It's just something that the shvuah came to add on. Now what he says in the Hemshech here is that, I'm not going to read the whole thing inside now, but he says that, why did Rabbi think it was mutter? Because originally, remember there were 6 oaths, right? And remember the Sugi and Ksubas, there's Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Zeir. Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's aser even for one yid to go to Eretz Yisrael.
Yes.
And Rabbi Zeir holds everybody together, but not one, right? Now, Rabbi Yehuda takes his isser from the Shalosh Shevuos, and Rabbi Zeir uses it for something else. So which of those Shalosh Shevuos, remember we talked about that?
Yes.
Which of the Shalosh Shevuos did Rabbi Zeir use for something else? So he says that it was the one Shalo Yidchu Chusaketz. That was the one. That Rabbi Yehuda holds going up to Eretz Yisrael as a yachid, as an individual, is that shvuah. And Rabbi Zeir says, no, it's not that, it's to daven too much. But the tzadashava shebohen, the common denominator between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Zeir is they both come to add on something that's not really kfir. Going up like an individual to Eretz Yisrael is not kfir. Just moving to Eretz Yisrael. And davening too much is not kfir. So they both add on that as the shvuah shelo yilchiku. And before Rabbi's Maisa, people thought like Rabbi Yehuda. They thought that the pshat was, it's aser to go up as a yachid. They didn't think the pshat was tachnunim. After the Maisa, that's when they realized there was aser. So that's how he kind of explains what the Havamin and the Maskana was of Rabbi.
I see.
Okay. Shkayach.